terrific college basketball Saturday continues on the ACC network from Atlanta, where the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets host the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. With Dan Bonner, I'm Jay Alter. These two teams right in the middle of the ACC standings, looking to climb with a win tonight. And Dan, the engine that makes both of these teams go can be found at the point guard position.
Two of the top point guards in the conference. Alvarado has just been outstanding all year. Prentice Hub, his three-point shooting has really come on in the last 5 games. That's a big reason why Notre Dame finally has it rolling. And these guys, they both provide a level of energy for their teams. They're good defenders. They distribute the ball. Basically, if they're playing well, their teams usually play well.
Prentice Hub and Notre Dame in blue and gold. Jose Alvarado and Georgia Tech in the home white tonight. Our officials, Bill Covington Jr., Ramey Steins, and A.J. Desai. And we are underway in Atlanta. And Georgia Tech starts with the ball. They have been terrific in this building in conference play, an undefeated 4-0. The problem has come on the road where they're 0-4, going up top to Usher, trying to start it off with a bang, and he's fouled.
Notre Dame starts in the man-to-man defense, and one of the big reasons for their resurgence has been their improved play defensively. They've been able to get some stops, get rebounds, get out and go, but Jordan Usher, he's a real energy guy. When he gets rolling, that helps Georgia Tech as well.
And Usher opens the scoring from the foul line tonight. Dan, you mentioned the Irish resurgence. They've won 4 of their last 5. The last 2 games, really convincing, impressive performances. You take a look at the Notre Dame starting 5. Prentice Hub, you mentioned, leads the way. Who else can step up for Notre Dame tonight?
Well, I think they're really going to need some contributions from Leshevsky. You know, he has not shot the ball well. Everybody talks about his three-point shooting, but in the last 7 games, over his last 7 games, he's only 4 for 14. And in fact, in his last 4 games, he hadn't made any threes and has only attempted 4 of them.
7 seconds to shoot. Prentice Hub trying to make something happen. Looks inside. Juwan Durham takes one dribble and slams it home.
That's great patience by Juwan Durham, knowing that Moses Wright was right in his grill. He gave the fake, took his time, still got the dunk before the shot clock went off.
Georgia Tech starting 5. Bubba Parham back in to the lineup. And Jose Alvarado threw it to no one.
Well, and I think that time, Jay, you saw, and here's these starters for these teams play a lot of minutes. We just showed you the starting lineup, so you're going to see a lot of these guys. But Notre Dame that time was in a zone, and I think it caught Georgia Tech a little bit by surprise. The Yellow Jackets, of course, will switch defense all night long. They're in a man-to-man at the moment. This is a tough matchup for Usher.
Right back to Durham, and Juwan Durham back-to-back buckets to start the game for Notre Dame.
Durham had a huge game against Wake Forest. He scored 18 points, had 9 rebounds. He has become a very effective inside scoring option.
Moses Wright, an offensive rebound. Get used to hearing that. He dominates the boards. Right back inside, passing out to Usher, who's called for a travel.
That's really good interior defense by Mike Bray's guys. You can see there, longtime head coach at Notre Dame, and his guys have really turned it up on the defensive end. But that's a great job by both Durham and Leshevsky, moving their feet, not picking up fouls.
Dane Goodwin in attack mode, falls off the rim. And here comes Jose Alvarado. Likes to push the tempo for the Yellow Jackets. DeVoe left open for a 3, and that rims out.
Those are the kind of shots that Georgia Tech is going to have to make. DeVoe's generally a very good three-point shooter in transition. You're not going to make them all, but you got to make a high percentage of those if you're going to win this game.
Poked away from Durham. He has all 4 points for the Irish early. And there's Josh Pastner at year number 5 of Georgia Tech. an up and down campaign, but the ups have come at home, and he told us this is a win they have to have if they want to have some NCAA tournament time. And Nate Laszewski inside rocks the rim. Notre Dame dominating in the interior to start this game.
Notre Dame's matching up.
Now, this is a mismatch. Alvarado on Durham. About a foot difference between those two. Usher tried to beat the buzzer, came up empty on the three-point attempt.
Boy, another really good defensive possession by Notre Dame. And again, they're playing a little matchup zone, and that has created some problems.
Laszewski for three, off the mark. Georgia Tech started this game 0 for 3 from the floor with 2 turnovers. Only points have come from the foul line.
Again, Notre Dame's playing a little 2-3 zone. And if you're Georgia Tech, what you have to do is you want to be patient against that, but you want to get the ball inside, cause the defense to collapse, and then create some opportunities.
Up top, Durham, everything but the finish. A foul comes in. And Juwan Durham will be at the foul line when we come back. Notre Dame's resurgence has started with defense, and they've done that tonight. 4-point lead early on the road for the Irish. ACC Network Basketball is brought to you by Zaxby's. Hand-breaded chicken and fresh ingredients made to order only at Zaxby's. With Dan Bonner, I'm Jay Alter. What a start for Notre Dame on the defensive end. And Dan, we were talking with head coach Mike Bray earlier, and we said you've won 4 of your last 5, 2 in a row pretty convincingly. What's been the cause for the turnaround? He said it's really easy. If we keep playing this well defensively, we're going to win a bunch of these games down the stretch.
Well, the point he made was when they were playing poorly defensively, that the way they were getting the ball was taking it out of the net. And that's not the way you want to get the basketball. It's one way to get the basketball in a game, but that's not the way you want to do it. And because they were taking the ball out of the net so much, they had to play against everybody's set defense. But when they're disruptive of their opponent's offense, they can get rebounds, they can get turnovers, they can get out and run, and that's what we've seen so far in this game.
And for better or for worse, a lot of college basketball fans, and hey, us broadcasters too, always like to focus on the offense. Oh, they're not shooting well. Mike Bray made the great point, and you just said it. Sometimes the shooting well can dictate what kind of shots you're getting based off what kind of defense the opponent's giving you. And if it comes off a miss and you can't let the defense get set, your odds of making the shot on the other end go up a lot.
So Notre Dame showing a little bit of pressure, and all that's for is to run some time off the shot clock, and then they drop back into the zone. And Georgia Tech thus far has not attacked this zone particularly well.
Moses Wright in attack mode right now, takes it right to the rim, can't get the finish. Offensive rebound, and it's a jump ball.
That is a great play by Jogo to tie up a very strong inside player like Moses Wright. And Wright, in his last couple of games, he had a big game against Louisville, but he missed a couple like these. And Jogo, that's so hard to do. Number one, without getting an elbow to break your nose, and number two, without committing a foul. And Jogo timed that perfectly.
Georgia Tech started 0 for 5 with 3 turnovers. That Notre Dame defense, the story early. Nate Laszewski buries the 3, and it's an 11-2 lead for the Irish 5 minutes in.
And that's great news for Notre Dame if Laszewski can start knocking down threes consistently again. Got to get the ball in the middle of that zone.
They're trying to shoot over it. Parham comes up empty. And Cormac Ryan, who's come off the bench the last 2 games and provided a big boost, fouled underneath after grabbing that rebound.
Well, Ryan, over the last 2 games, he missed that Virginia Tech game, but over the last 2 games, he's averaged 16 points a game, Jay, and he's 8 for 11 from beyond the arc.
And Mike Bray told us that the Stanford transfer has been terrific, consistent on defense, but now adding some offense to his game and really finding form in the middle of this season. The Irish on an 11-0 run over the last 5 minutes.
Well, now Georgia Tech drops into their matchup zone. And again, the matchup zone, it makes Notre Dame stand around a little bit, and they get nothing except a long outside shot.
Jordan Usher, ball ripped away. Dane Goodwin comes away with it. Hub lets it fly and hits it. Prentice Hub, and it's a 14-0 Notre Dame run.
Hub is outstanding with that three-point basket in transition. And if you're Georgia Tech, that's one thing you can't do. You can't turn it over and let Notre Dame get out and get running at you.
That rims out for Moses Wright. Georgia Tech can't get anything to drop right now at home. It'll stay Notre Dame's way. And there's a lid on the basket right now for Georgia Tech.
Well, part of the problem is they're really struggling against that zone. This is really a good decision by Goodwin. Now, it wasn't a particularly good pass, so you got to tip your hat to Prentice Hub there. It's a tough catch, but he was still able to make it and then knock down the three.
DeVoe up to Alvarado, trying to snap a 6-minute scoring drought, and Jose Alvarado does just that. A scoop to the hoop, right to the rim.
And the Yellow Jackets are really good when they can turn you over and get out and run. Jose Alvarado may be one of the best transition guys in the league, and that time Georgia Tech flat-footed in the zone defense. They were back, but they weren't set to go.
Khalid Moore muscles his way to the rim and drops it in.
And it's Georgia Tech obviously needed that basket, but if that is the kind of shot you're going to get, a tough one, it's close to the basket, if it's contested, maybe a long night for you if you're Georgia Tech.
Hub, a deep three. That's off the mark. And Josh Pastor was telling us, Dan, about the Yellow Jackets' energy. And he didn't like that energy on Monday in the loss to Louisville. He loved it a week ago in a huge win against Florida State, but he said the energy levels need to be consistently high, especially during this stretch of conference play in February.
And sometimes it's hard to keep that energy level cranked up when the ball's not going in the basket. It's a simple truth of basketball that the game is much easier when the ball's going through the hoop for you.
Now, Jose Alvarado was so big in that win against Florida State last Saturday. It feels like a long time ago for Georgia Tech fans, but that game, the win, elevated them into the NCAA tournament bubble conversation. And unfortunately, a lot of steam lost in that Louisville game. They've come out flat tonight at home against Notre Dame, trailing by 10.
But that's really good defense by Alvarado. Notre Dame's having a tough time just catching the ball.
Great handle. Cormac Ryan fought off Alvarado and put it in for two.
You're not going to see very many tougher shots than that. I just said you got to be trying to get easy shots. Well, that was really tough, and Ryan showed you some of his toughness to get that one to go down.
DeVoe, a contested three, but he drills it.
Michael DeVoe is one of those guys for Georgia Tech that has played much better at home than on the road. And if you're Notre Dame, no matter what defense you're playing, you have to find him. You can't give him open looks.
Durham, contested shot on Moses Wright. I'll tell you what, Dan, both sides are making tough shots right now.
Durham, over these last few games, particularly during this stretch where Notre Dame has played so well, his ability to make that little fall-away jump shot is really impressive.
Alvarado swarmed, has to kick it out. Kyle Sturdivant with his first touch. Off to Moses Wright.
That is great defense by Notre Dame. They switch back to the man-to-man, and everybody doing a great job moving his feet, staying in front of his man. That's the key to defense. You got to try to keep guys out of the lane.
Hub thought about the shot. Hand off to Durham, and Jawan Durham does the rest. Notre Dame shooting 9 for 15 from the field. Timeout, Josh Pastner. Irish own the first 10 minutes of this one. Notre Dame with a 22-9 lead midway through the first half. On Tuesday, the Irish head to Cameron Indoor to take on Duke. That game tips off at 4:30 Eastern Time right here on the ACC Network. It's a doubleheader to follow Syracuse against NC State. And Notre Dame's looked really good tonight, and typically Mike Bray coach teams look good in February. A couple of times in the recent years, in the last 5 years, the Irish have come into February needing a big month, and guess what? They get it. 5-1 in 2016 and 2017. They used that run to ultimately get to the ACC tournament final. And then a year ago, they started out 2-6 in ACC play. Then a 6-2 February got the Irish to finish even at 10-10 in ACC play. And so far, so good this year in February. Khalid Moore bodied on his way to the rim. He'll get 2 at the line.
That was good patience by Georgia Tech. But again, what we're seeing here with this Notre Dame defense, they're not letting the guys get by. Good help that time by Durham. Nice play by Usher. You know, he didn't panic when he was trapped under the basket. He found Moore. But it's actually a pretty good defensive effort by Notre Dame.
And the Irish started this year in ACC play 0-5. Now they've won 4 of their last 5, so 4-6 overall. But when you look at the February runs, they could end the month if they keep playing like they have in recent weeks, and certainly in the first half of the first half tonight, Dan. Notre Dame certainly can make some noise the remaining way.
Well, they can. They started 0-5 in the conference, but look who they played. You know, they played Virginia Tech twice. They played Virginia twice. They played. You know, they lost to Duke, but they were playing really good teams. They were playing the top teams in the league, and of course, if you're going to be one of the top teams in the league, you need to win some of those games, and they didn't. But they're on a pretty good roll right now. One of the other games they lost in that stretch is they lost at North Carolina.
And right now, Notre Dame perfect from the foul line, 4 for 4, shooting 60% from the field. It's the largest lead of the night, 15 for the Irish. Great backdoor, Alvarado, count it.
Notre Dame trying to be aggressive in the man-to-man defense. Hub was trying to deny the pass to Alvarado. Good recognition as he just makes a back cut. Now Georgia Tech is going to try to apply some pressure. Got to do something to try to change the tempo of the game.
Prentice Hub in attack mode, uses the speed, easy layup.
Now that won't do it. But Georgia Tech electing to go a little bit smaller lineup, so your shot blocker, Moses Wright, is not in the game at the moment. That makes that drive to the basket a little easier. Notre Dame drops back into the zone.
Alvarado hits the 3. That's how you beat the zone right there. Sharp shooting from Jose Alvarado. And Usher called for the foul. He has to be careful. He's picked up a couple in this first half. That's his second.
Now, nobody from Georgia Tech is happy about that call, but generally, you know, the officials are not going to let you just slap the ball away from somebody. Ryan's doing a really nice job protecting it. Now, if he's dribbling the ball and you grab it from him, then usually you're going to get away with that. But if the guy's holding the ball and you slap down like that, that's almost always going to be called a foul.
Usher, the tallest player in the game for the Yellow Jackets right now. It's 6'7". Actually, I misspoke because Moses Wright checked in after the foul by Usher, so he gives him an extra inch of 6'8".
Olszewski trying to post up inside against DeVoe, but don't need a post up. That was a long three.
A rainbow three. And Moses Wright answers on the other end with a slam. But how about that arc on the three from Prentice Hub?
Well, he had to get it up over Moses Wright, and Wright just took off and went down the court.
Heat check was coming for Prentice Hub. He's been terrific tonight. He's been terrific the last couple of weeks for Notre Dame. DeVoe in the lane. The floater that floated a little too high on that one. Didn't get it away cleanly. Yeah. Hub takes it himself. Prentice Hub is heating up.
Well, you've got to stop him in transition.
When Prentice Hub gets going, Notre Dame usually wins. And Moses Wright, everything but the finish. It's been a frustrating start for Wright and this Georgia Tech team, and Notre Dame has cashed in a 15-point lead for the Irish. And Prentice Hub doing Prentice Hub things in Atlanta. Started conference play 0 for 5, and Prentice Hub struggled in that stretch, but in recent weeks, including tonight, Dan, he's been terrific.
Well, he really has been terrific, and you said before, Jay, when he's playing well, Notre Dame suddenly becomes very good. Not only can he make the standstill three, but in transition, he is so dangerous, playing very confidently right now. And he's a guy, this is what you were talking about, through the first 5 ACC games. Look at that, 3 for 27 from beyond the arc. The next 5, 18 for 37. Tonight, he's 2 for 4.
Well, coaches will use the line that Prentice Hub is the straw that stirs the drink. Well, in recent weeks, that drink tastes pretty good for Notre Dame. And Mike Bray told us not only when he's shooting well, obviously it helps because he's scoring more points, but the players around him, like Cormac Ryan, play a lot better too. They call that on the floor. Thought it could have been an and one there. As we tell you tomorrow, great women's basketball game right here on the ACC network. NC State coming off a huge win against #1 undefeated Louisville on Big Monday. And they play North Carolina tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Now that one you can count plus the foul. Jawan Durham, who's been outstanding tonight, 5 for 5 from the floor, 12 points, and a chance to add one more from the line.
This is just a tremendous play by Prentice Hub. Great vision. Jose Alvarado, got caught flat-footed in the middle of the lane. Got to get over and get in front of Durham. But another dunk by Notre Dame. They've had 4 layups in this game. They've had 3 dunks. No wonder they're shooting a high percentage.
65% from the floor. Moses Wright, a high percentage look right there.
And Wright has struggled. Prior to that, he was only 1 for 6. And this is a very aggressive Notre Dame team. Dane Goodwin really doesn't shoot that many free throws. But he attacks the basket right there. In ACC play, he averages just a little more than 1 free throw attempt per game. And he's a very good free throw shooter. But that's a great job to be in attack mode.
And that's the point Mike Bray was making to us earlier during our coaches call. Is sure, you can look at the numbers and say Prentice Hub is the go-to guy, which he is. But for Notre Dame to win basketball games, it's the Dane Goodwins, the Cormac Ryans, the Jawan Durhams that need to step up and be consistent. And they have been during this recent winning stretch. Parham uses the window to drop it in.
That's a nice job penetrating through the zone defense. One of the reasons you play a zone is to try to prevent that dribble penetration.
Hub, step back, he lost the handle. Lofts it into Durham. Great feed, Leszewski, easy lay-in for Nate Leszewski.
As we said, Notre Dame's had a lot of those.
And Moses Wright on the other end. That one finally rolls down. Moses Wright has had a lot of good looks inside. Some have gone down, some have not. That ball's thrown away.
Open, but that didn't help Notre Dame. And again, Notre Dame rarely turns it over. Cormac Ryan just made a bad pass.
Easy baskets for Mike Bray's team. 9 of Notre Dame's 14 field goals have been layups or dunks. They've built a 15-point lead.
They're doing a nice job switching defenses. They're back to the man-to-man. It's really been hard for Georgia Tech to get in much of an offensive rhythm.
Usher in attack mode. You know, Georgia Tech's made their last 4 baskets, 7 of their last 9, and yet they really haven't cut into this Notre Dame lead. Because of that, Nate Leszewski buries another 3. Notre Dame can't miss.
Georgia Tech just needs to keep grinding away. They've done a nice job getting the ball inside and scoring in there, and they need to try to keep doing that.
Usher off his back foot, hits it. Again, Georgia Tech's made their last 5.
That was actually pretty good defense, but better offense. But once again, they drive the ball into the middle of the lane.
Cormac Ryan off the drive. That's 10 straight makes between these two teams, 5 each.
So if you like offense, this was a good game to watch then.
And in years past, this has been a defensive grind, these two teams. Slow pace, grinded out game, and not the case tonight in Atlanta. Both teams shooting lights out. Notre Dame is shooting 70%. That is 7-0 from the floor this first half.
Well, if you're Georgia Tech, you've just got to keep grinding on because Notre Dame is not going to shoot 70% the entire game. At least that's what you have to tell yourself. You don't. You just try to tighten it up on the defensive end. Make sure you get good shots on the offensive end.
That's the first miss, although it bounces right to Moses Wright in perfect position to lay it up and in. Georgia Tech needs a stop desperately. Notre Dame has made 10 of their last 11.
It's hard to cut into the deficit when the other guys score all the time.
Durham's perfect from the floor, muscling his way to the rim, and it stays that way. He's 6 for 6, 14 points for Jawan Durham.
What great use of the pivot foot right there. And again, he gets into the lane, he doesn't panic.
Wright working on Durham. Now a triple team comes in on Wright. Somebody's open. That drops for Michael DeVoe.
Well, again, you have pointed it out a couple times, Jay. Georgia Tech not having any problems on the offensive end at the moment. They just can't stop Notre Dame.
Georgia Tech started the game 0 for 7. Since then, they're shooting 13 of 18. That's pretty good, and yet trailing by 14. Here's Prentice Hub. Passes off. Wirtz a 3. That's the first miss in a while for Notre Dame. And it brings us to our final media timeout of the first half. Notre Dame shooting 68% of the floor. Juwan Durham, he's perfect from the floor. Irish up 14. Nothing but net every Sunday right here on the ACC Network. The gang previews the week to come, tells you what happened in the week that was. 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Nothing but net. Kelsey Riggs leads a star-studded crew, and they'll have plenty to talk about, certainly from this week. The North Carolina-Duke game, which just wrapped up. Notre Dame surging in the ACC, and when it hits February, ACC basketball is the place to be. How about that stat, Dan? Georgia Tech has actually shot at 13 of 18 since their 0 of 7 start. You think they'd be chipping away at this lead. Instead, still down 14.
Well, again, it's hard to chip away at the lead with the way Notre Dame is shooting the ball. But again, I will say that Georgia Tech, you just have to keep grinding away, confident that Notre Dame cannot continue to shoot the ball at a 70% rate.
Alvarado, an easy basket there. Bringing that full court pressure.
Working with some pressure, trying to make Notre Dame uncomfortable, and that's what you got to do. Get them out of the offensive rhythm that they've settled into.
Goodwin in trouble. Kick out. Cormac Ryan, too much on it. Offensive rebound, Notre Dame. And Prentice Hub can reset for the Irish. Leszewski can't leave him open. That's why Nate Leszewski buries his third 3 of the night.
Notre Dame is not a great offensive rebounding team, but Leszewski gets the offensive rebound, and then good ball movement results in another wide open 3.
Usher playing with 3 fouls, has to be careful. Alvarado with 3, it's good. Jose Alvarado with an answer.
Really nice pass by DeVoe. And you got to get stops. They've been hard to come by.
Wide open. A 50 spot for Notre Dame in this first half. Shooting 68% from the floor as we step aside. Notre Dame, this is the best half of basketball they've played all season. 50 points in this first half, shooting 6 of 12 from 3, 68% from the floor. And Georgia Tech shot the ball pretty well themselves, and yet they're down 15.
Shot clock and game clock are very close. Notre Dame can hold it for the last one if they wish.
Prentice Hub and Juwan Durham combined for 10 of 12 from the floor. Hub with 10 to shoot. Leszewski, step back 3, off the mark. And Alvarado will heave to end this first half. Notre Dame, a really impressive first half on the road. Georgia Tech undefeated in ACC play at home, but Notre Dame shooting 66% at a 15-point halftime lead. By 15 at the half. Dan, how'd we get here?
Notre Dame shot the ball very well, for one thing, and they were led by 2 guys who shot the ball incredibly well. Prentice Hub was 4 for 6, and Hub showed you the complete range of his game, making a 3 from the corner, driving the ball through the lane, and then scoring on the pull-up jumper in transition. He was 4 for 6, and you think that's pretty good. Well, not as good as Juwan Durham. He was 6 for 6, in the first half, also made both of his free throws. But Durham was just dominant on the inside. He showed good patience, great use of the pivot foot. Georgia Tech wasn't able to bring help against him. He had a couple of dunks, a couple of layups, just a very impressive performance.
Notre Dame shot it better than any half of theirs in the last 3 years, 66% from the floor. And if you're Georgia Tech, that 0 for 7 start just killed you, because they played pretty well when you consider 71% from the floor in the final 13 minutes, and yet they trail by 15.
And they only had 5 turnovers, and the problem is Notre Dame was able to turn those 5 turnovers into 10 points. You got to continue to get the kind of shots they've been getting on offense, and you got to disrupt Notre Dame on the defensive end, and that is a very good offensive start. But again, as we showed you there, they've been shooting 71% since the first 7 minutes of the game. Now you got to get some stops on the defensive end.
Something they failed to do in the first half, and surprising to see a Georgia Tech team, particularly in this building, give up 50 and a half.
Now there you get a stop. Good defense.
Here's Moses Wright. Double teamed, and he had to alter his shot, and he missed it.
And that's another really good defensive play by Notre Dame. They collapsed on Moses Wright. They pressured him without fouling him and were able to get the rebound.
Prentice Hub off to Durham. Those two terrific in the first half. That one's off the mark from Hub. Contested 3. Back-to-back stops for Georgia Tech. And Moses Wright, the follow flush. The senior in perfect position to slam it home.
And when you can get stops, you can get out and run. And when you get out and run, that creates offensive rebounding opportunities in transition. And here's another turnover.
Here's Jordan Usher flying to the rack. Jordan Usher with a man's jam. And it's a 6-0 run for Georgia Tech to start the second half.
Just some miscommunication there. Hub was trying to throw it to Goodwin, and Goodwin wasn't looking.
Goodwin fakes out Usher, and it rolls in for Dane Goodwin, who answers on the offensive end. Bubba Parham just pulls up and drills it. Trey Wirtz misses the layup. Georgia Tech has it back to single digits for the first time since it was 18-9. Michael DeVoe buries a 3. The Yellow Jackets shot out of a cannon in this second half. 5 for 5 from the floor, and they've cut it to 5. Timeout, Notre Dame. It's on a 12-2 run to start the second half, Dan.
Well, whatever they said, whatever they did there, it has certainly worked out. They've been coming down. You see, they're dunking the ball and shooting threes. They've scored 12 points. They outscored Notre Dame by 10 here early in the second half, and they're doing it with dunks and threes, and that is a pretty good formula offensively. More than that, you can see Georgia Tech started the first half 0 for 7. This half 5 for 7. They've made 20 of their last 28 shots overall. And Notre Dame has started this half 1 for 4. So the Irish starting to cool off. And if you were Georgia Tech, that had to be your philosophy. They are going to cool off eventually, and they have.
What was a 15-point lead 2.5 minutes ago has now shrunk to a 5-point lead for Notre Dame. Great feed, Prentice Hub, another assist. That's his 6th. Great find, Nate Leshevsky on the finish.
Great job by Leshevsky. Slip into the basket. Notre Dame back into their man-to-man.
Alvarado fouled. Cormac Ryan stuck his hand in there. That's his first.
Alvarado has a little bit of a quickness advantage against Ryan, and he was turning the corner, and Ryan knew it.
Jordan Usher, step back three. He's got it. Georgia Tech's sharp shooting continues in the second half.
Well, Usher is a very high energy kind of guy, and when the ball's going in the basket for him, he plays with so much confidence.
Ryan, great feed to Nikola Jogo. Easy lay-in, and that's when Notre Dame was building their lead in the first half. It was the easy layups that the Irish was getting.
Georgia Tech is really trying to pressure on defense, and sometimes when you do that, you can give up easy ones. So you want to pressure the ball, but you want to make sure that you don't give guys easy backdoor cuts.
Ten seconds to shoot. Wide open again. Nate Laszewski hammers it home. The feed from Prentice Hub now has 7 assists.
That was great ball movement by the Irish, great player movement.
A 9-point lead. Notre Dame weathered the Georgia Tech storm back-to-back. Easy buckets for Nate Laszewski, 9-point lead. On Tuesday, Notre Dame goes to Cameron Indoor to take on Duke. That tips off 4:30 Eastern Time, and then it's NC State against Syracuse. Both games right here on the ACC Network. Dan Bonner, Jay Alter with you. Georgia Tech opened the second half on a 12-2 run. Mike Bray uses a timeout, and it's 3 straight makes for Notre Dame, 2 of them belonging to Nate Laszewski. And the junior's doing something that nobody else in Power 5 college basketball is doing right now, and that's making 60% from the floor, more than 50% from 3, and averaging more than 8 rebounds per game. He is alone in high major basketball, Dan.
You see his numbers tonight are even better than that.
He's got 17 tonight, make it 19. And it's the same play. Laszewski right down the middle. Nobody's going to stop him in attack mode right now for the Irish.
Jay, so far tonight, Notre Dame has scored either 15 layups or dunks. Between layups or dunks, they've got 15 baskets.
And there's a layup on the other end. Count it plus the foul for Bubba Parham, trying to drag the Yellow Jackets back into it.
Well, now, Parham is a guy who can score. He's a little guy. He beats Goodwin off the dribble. But 2 years ago, he led the SoCon in scoring, and he scored 30-plus points 9 different times. Now, Georgia Tech doesn't need him to score at that level on this team, but he is very capable.
And the lead's down to 8.
Again, if Georgia Tech, you try to keep the defensive pressure on, you just keep playing.
Here's the hot hand, Laszewski. He's got 19. Prentice Hub, 10 points, 8 assists. Contested 3 off the mark from Cormac Ryan. DeVoe on the drive. Jordan Usher driving baseline. He's called for the charge, and that's his 4th foul. Jordan Usher has picked up his 4th foul early in this second half.
It's a really nice job by Nate Laszewski to move his feet, and Usher leans back into the lane. He's driving along the baseline, but he leans into the lane, and what the official saw was that contact, Usher's shoulder right into Laszewski's chest. There's a kick.
It's interesting, Josh Pastner has left the senior Jordan Usher on the floor with 4 fouls, not only on the floor, but playing aggressive full court pressure defense.
But Jay, a lot of times guys think, coaches think if a guy's got 4 fouls, that's not the time you save him. And I think they need Jordan Usher's energy. He's got to be a little bit careful, but they need his energy and aggressiveness.
And Bubba Parham got in the way of Prentice Hub there. That's Hub's first foul.
And that's now the 4th turnover by Notre Dame. Parham is just standing there waiting for him. Nice job. One of the very few times that Prentice Hub has been out of control tonight.
Khalid Moore looking to run through the back door. And it was deflected by Jogo.
Well, if you're Usher, you've got the 4 fouls. You want to be careful you don't pick up the 5th one on an offensive foul, like a charging foul or an over-the-back foul trying to get a rebound.
DeVoe swatted away by Jawan Durham, but a foul called first. I think they're going to get Cormac Ryan for the foul.
Notre Dame foul, charge number 5, Cormac Ryan, his 3rd and 5th foul.
And it's going to really help Georgia Tech if Michael DeVoe can get going. And Cormac Ryan, he didn't mean to foul him. He fell down and basically blocked him because he fell down. Chopped the legs out from under Michael DeVoe. Nothing intentional there. Ryan just fell down, but DeVoe's going to get to go to the line. And DeVoe has not had a big game. He's only attempted 5 shots, has but 8 points.
Substitution number 2, Trey Burks.
DeVoe looks uncomfortable, doesn't he?
Yeah, he keeps grabbing that lower back.
And he fell pretty hard.
Misses both from the line to keep it an 8-point Notre Dame lead. Here's Jawan Durham, splits through a double team, muscles his way to the rim, first miss of the night, chases after it, but Khalid Moore can corral it. Here's Jordan Usher. What a take. Jordan Usher with a man all over him makes it a 6-point game.
Well, Usher does not seem to be the least little bit concerned that he's got 4 personal fouls. So much for being careful.
Hub tried to get it to Durham, ripped away by Alvarado, up to DeVoe, and he's fouled.
Georgia Tech really increasing the defensive intensity and a little bit, I think, of a lackadaisical kind of play there by Prentice Hub. He hasn't made many mistakes tonight, but he made one there. And that's what Georgia Tech is looking for, using their defense to create some offensive opportunities.
Georgia Tech trailed by as much as 17 in this game. And Michael DeVoe can make it a 4-point Notre Dame lead with this free throw. And he does.
Now, Georgia Tech shooting 72% in the second half, so that's how they've been able to cut into the lead, even though Notre Dame continues to shoot at a 50% clip. But there's another turnover by the Irish.
And it's Jordan Usher again playing aggressively with 4 fouls. He leads the Yellow Jackets in scoring with 16.
Notre Dame turned it over 2 times in the first half, and now they've turned it over 6 times here in the second.
Prentice Hub got back to block it to deny the game being tied at 60. It's a 9-0 Yellow Jackets run. The defensive intensity is picked up from Georgia Tech. Foul off the ball. They're going to get Khalid Moore.
And Parham, he doesn't see Hub coming, and that's a really nice job by Hub. Parham is only 5'10", and I think that's standing on a chair maybe, because I don't think he's that tall, but Hub does a great job getting back and swatting that one away to preserve the lead.
Timeout, Georgia Tech. They've cut the Notre Dame lead to 2 on a 9-0 run with 12:10 to play in the second half. Tomorrow afternoon, right here on the ACC Network, tips off 2 Eastern. Check out number 4 NC State taking on North Carolina. Great rivalry game in ACC women's hoops. The Wolfpack fresh off their win against number 1 Louisville. And that game tips off 2 o'clock Eastern time right here on the ACC Network. Now, Georgia Tech was down as much as 17 to Notre Dame, and now on a 9-0 run. It all starts on the defensive intensity. 5 turnovers, 4 of them steals, and they've cashed in for a bunch of fast break points to make it a 2-point game. Prentice Hub trying to end that run. Too much on it. Tapped around, falls to Luszewski. Inside to Durham, and it's swiped away. Yep.
It's a little bit of a tough pass, and Durham had to try to control it, and Moore knocked it away from him.
Usher playing with 4 fouls. He's been aggressive. Kick out. Parham darts into the lane. Extra pass. Alvarado. One more pass. Parham for the lead. Off the mark.
Everything but the basket right there. Great ball movement by the Yellow Jackets. That's twice now they've had the opportunity to tie or take the lead.
Prentice Hub takes it himself. It rims out. Durham there for the follow-up finish.
Oh, that one off Alvarado. That's a really nice job by Prentice Hub. He had gotten beaten. He got beat down the lane, but he was able to recover. He hit the ball and went off Alvarado's hand.
Now, Prentice Hub is putting together a complete game right now for Notre Dame. He had a crucial block, a steal, 8 assists, 10 points, and he's really the do-it-all guy for this Notre Dame team. Four-point lead for the Irish, less than 11 minutes to play. The lead was 117. Inside Luszewski. Prentice Hub, a great feed, and Luszewski another finish. He has 21.
Boy, how many times have we seen that particular combination tonight?
8 of Prentice Hub's 9 assists have been layups or dunks to either Jawan Durham or Nate Luszewski, as Moses Wright fights inside on the other end.
And that's exactly the word for it. He just fought until he got the basketball. Really nice job. Hub has cooled off here in the second half. Missed all 3 of his shot attempts.
Michael DeVoe buries a transition 3, and Georgia Tech back within 1.
Michael DeVoe is as good a player as there is in the conference when he gets that opportunity, that open opportunity in transition.
Poked away, up ahead, Alvarado, and that's Georgia Tech's first lead since it was 2-0 at the beginning of this game.
Now, how about that? Georgia Tech coming all the way back, and it's a role reversal here. Georgia Tech is the team shooting the ball very well, playing great on the defensive end.
Luszewski a 3, looking for an answer, and he's got it. Nate Luszewski dials up his 4th 3 of the night, just when Notre Dame needed it most.
And Jay, Luszewski's 4 threes tonight are as many threes as he has made in his prior 7 games combined. So if there was ever a time to come out of a little bit of a shooting slump, tonight has been it for Nate Luszewski. It looks like Notre Dame is going to need all they can get.
Notre Dame took the timeout after the made 3 from Luszewski. Mike Bray only has 1 timeout remaining. Wonder why he waited till after Notre Dame regains the lead to take that timeout, Dan.
Well, I think what he's trying to do is get them reorganized again on the defensive end for one thing, and for the other thing, he's telling them, hey, you've got to be more careful on the offensive end. You don't want to go more slowly. You don't want to, step back from what has been working for you, but you have to take better care of the basketball. As you mentioned before, the turnovers that they had 2 turnovers at halftime. They've had 7 in the second half, and just about every one of those turnovers has been what Tom Izzo refers to as turnovers for touchdowns. In other words, you're turning it over in a live ball setting, and the other team gets down and gets an easy one. And that's been a big story of this second half. He's got 5 turnovers, and so they need to do a better job taking care of the basketball, and I think that's one of the things that Mike Brey was telling them.
And Laszewski's given Notre Dame back the lead. 24 points. His career high is 28. 9 minutes to play. Georgia Tech has roared back from 15 points down at halftime. Here's Alvarado. Hoists a 3 and hits it. The bank's open late in Atlanta on a Saturday night, and Jose Alvarado fires Georgia Tech back in front.
And one of the problems for Notre Dame is if this game's a close game, Jose Alvarado is a big shot maker, and he just made a clutch one right there.
Hub on the drive. There's your answer. These 2 power point guards are going punch for punch.
Notre Dame drops back into the zone.
I'll tell you what, this is where you really miss the ACC crowds. This place would be rocking with 8 minutes to go. A 1-point game between Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. Well, the talk going into this season was no fans was going to make it easy to win on the road. Well, not in the ACC, and especially not at McCamish Pavilion. Georgia Tech 4-0 at home, 0-4 on the road. And Notre Dame in the first half built a 15-point halftime lead, scored 50 in that first half, and you thought maybe Georgia Tech's 10-game home win streak in the ACC was in jeopardy, but the Yellow Jackets roared back without fans to do it at their back, Dan. They've really surged at home in this second half and have a chance to win this ball game.
They've done a great job forcing turnovers and converting those turnovers into transition opportunities.
Moses Wright bobbled it, hit the deck to regain it, and it's a jump ball, possession arrow with Notre Dame.
Possession arrow to Notre Dame.
And for Georgia Tech, I think they were fortunate right there. Notre Dame did a nice job getting some transition opportunities in the first half, so that's a turnover for Georgia Tech, but it's at least a turnover where Notre Dame can't run the ball down the court in transition.
Prentice Hub on the drive, and he's fouled.
I think he just threw that ball up there, knew he was going to get fouled. Georgia Tech has done a nice job. We kept saying in the first half when Notre Dame was shooting the ball so well that defensively, Georgia Tech just had to make Notre Dame uncomfortable on the offensive end, and they have done it.
That was the first foul shot attempt in this second half for Notre Dame. They're 7 for 8 from the line.
Georgia Tech has been the aggressor here in this second half. got the Irish back on their heels a little bit.
And they've done it with defensive intensity. 14 fast break points to spur on the comeback. And now trailing by 2. They go back to the small ball lineup with Jordan Usher playing the 5. Khalid Moore ties it at 70. Great take inside by the junior Khalid Moore.
Really, really good pass.
And Dane Goodwin, the immediate answer.
Notre Dame hasn't been able to do too much of that in the second half. They did it early in the game, driving the ball into the lane.
And Jordan Usher misses that one. He's playing with 4 fouls and has been since the 13-minute mark. And Usher has to relent on defense with those 4 fouls, and Jawan Durham takes advantage of it.
Great job looking inside. Not only is there the size advantage, but as you mentioned, the 4 personal fouls. Great job by Notre Dame going to exactly the right spot.
And with that assist, Prentice Hub has a double-double. Great play. Alvarado keeping it alive for Georgia Tech, but the Yellow Jackets can't cash in.
2 blocked shots by Durham. Great job.
Prentice Hub in attack mode. Prentice Hub starting to take over. 15 points, 10 assists, and 9 of those 10 assists have been on either a dunk or a layup. Timeout, Georgia Tech, trailing by 6 with 6 minutes to play. Timeout on the floor. Good time to remind you, Nothing But Net every Sunday, our weekly basketball studios show on the ACC Network. You can catch it tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the ACC Network. I'm sure they'll be talking Duke, North Carolina. That game went right down to the wire. The Tar Heels won it, which puts Duke in jeopardy. And Dan, you and I are not Joe Lunardi, but it certainly puts the Blue Devils in jeopardy of missing the NCAA tournament.
Well, it does. If you were going to pick the tournament today, then Duke would be in real trouble. But you're not going to pick it today. The Blue Devils still have some opportunities, but that was obviously a big win for North Carolina in terms of enhancing their tournament hopes.
And both coaches felt like a win today was necessary if you're Georgia Tech or Notre Dame in getting to the NCAA tournament. A critical matchup in February in ACC play. Alvarado thought about the 3, drives in. Jose Alvarado, what a take!
That's what I was talking about. He is fearless and he makes big shots. Georgia Tech really needed that one, and he took it into the 2 6'11" guys and converted. Ooh, wow.
Cormac Ryan draws the foul. Bubba Parham issued a foul. Take another look at Jose Alvarado.
He is just as tough as you could possibly want. He fakes, he goes right by Leshevsky, goes right into Durham. He's not worried at all about the shot blocker.
Hub blows by Alvarado, rejected. Moses Wright denied Prentice Hub. DeVoe in transition. And he cashes in. It's a 2-point game with 5 minutes to play.
And that's where Georgia Tech has had their success in this second half, in transition. Now, that wasn't a turnover, but lots of times you can get a blocked shot and get out running just like a steal. And Cormac Ryan, that's a couple of times now in this half that he has just fallen down. His feet slipped out from under him, and you can't leave DeVoe in that kind of a situation. Michael DeVoe is starting to come on. He's now got 15 points in the game. Georgia Tech's defensive pressure has made the flow a little bit tougher for Notre Dame.
Hub keeps the handle, feeds up high to Durham. That's a mismatch. Durham with a foot on Alvarado, and yet Alvarado steals it away. Great defense from Jose Alvarado. Here come the Yellow Jackets. Sturdivant with a head of steam, and he takes it for two. We're tied at 76.
Boy, Georgia Tech attacking on both ends of the court.
Foul called on the floor. Under 4 minutes to play. We've got a fun finish coming in Atlanta. Tied at 76. You won't want to miss how this one ends. Notre Dame led by 15 at halftime, and Jose Alvarado and Georgia Tech have erased that lead. Tied at 76, Dan. Two of the best point guards of the ACC, and they've gone punch for punch tonight.
Boy, they sure have. Alvarado, though, is sort of pulling away because, remember, Prentice Hub made 4 of his first 6 shots. And in addition, Hub has struggled a little bit here in the second half. He's now got 5 turnovers. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why Notre Dame has appeared a little bit uncomfortable on offense, is because Georgia Tech has been able to make Prentice Hub uncomfortable.
And Jose Alvarado has done that with 6 steals in this game, dominating on the defensive end, and that has been the difference in this second half. There's Alvarado all over Hub, passes off Laszewski. Nate Laszewski, count it, plus the foul. And one opportunity for Nate Laszewski.
And that's one of the things that Laszewski has done better and better as the year has gone on. You run out and you try to prevent him from taking that 3. He puts the ball on the deck and drives it to the basket. Look at that line, will you? 11 of 13.
Well, obviously he's got the 4 threes, but all his 2s have been dunks or layups. 27 points for Nate Laszewski, 1 shy of a career high, and he's given Notre Dame a 3-point lead.
Paying an awful lot of attention to Alvarado here.
Shooting 80% from the floor. Tough shot, and he missed it. Great defense from Cormac Ryan, who grabs the rebound.
And Ryan just moved his feet and stayed in between Alvarado and the basket and forced Alvarado to take a tough shot. Ryan is 6'5", Alvarado only 6 feet tall.
Hub driving on Alvarado, no angle. Great defense from Alvarado. Kyle Sturdivant cashes in, coast to coast. Kyle Sturdivant's first bucket of the night, and it's a big one.
Well, one of the things that you do when you take a bad shot on the offensive end, that allows your opponent to get out and go in transition, and that's exactly what happened that time.
That one rims out from Hub. Alvarado swipes it away. Yellow Jackets with a chance to take the lead.
Well, that's 2 possessions in a row now where you have the idea that Hub just tried to force it a little bit. He doesn't need to do anything to do everything. He needs to get some help from his teammates.
DeVoe in trouble, goes up with it, and it falls. Michael DeVoe fires Georgia Tech in front. 2 minutes to play. Timeout Notre Dame. That's their final timeout. Trailing by 1. Georgia Tech has erased a 15-point halftime lead.
That's just a great job by Michael DeVoe, operating in traffic, using that pivot foot very effectively. And he's really come on in this second half. And you know, to be honest, Georgia Tech has gotten a nice little lift here from Kyle Sturdivant. He's got 2 big baskets.
Now, Notre Dame has led in this game for more than 35 minutes. But it only matters who's leading when the clock hits zeros, and with 1:57 to play, it's Georgia Tech controlling an 80-79 lead, and the Irish are out of timeouts the rest of the way. Goodwin for three, off the mark. Great save and hustle from Jose Alvarado to keep that ball in play.
Really good defense by Georgia Tech.
DeVoe driving in on Hub, turns around and hits it. Back-to-back buckets in crunch time for Michael DeVoe.
Big possession here for Notre Dame.
And a foul called on DeVoe, who's trying to control Leszewski. Believe it or not, this 3-point lead for Georgia Tech is the Yellow Jackets' largest of the game.
But DeVoe has really done a nice job. And again, when he gets into the lane, he's got that nice little turnaround jump shot. He just drove Prentice Hub back with the dribble.
Leszewski shooting 1 and 1. And he misses the front end. Georgia Tech can make it a 2-possession game for the first time all night.
Now this feels like a must-stop situation for Notre Dame.
Sturdivant open for three. And Notre Dame now with a chance to tie it with a 3. Foul on the floor. And another 1-and-1 coming with Cormac Ryan at the line.
Now, obviously, these are big opportunities. Nate Leszewski has struggled recently from the free throw line. Made his previous one tonight before that last 1-on-1 opportunity. Now, Cormac Ryan, very good free throw shooter, but these are essential.
Hits the first. Notre Dame out of timeouts. Georgia Tech has 1. Ryan misses it. Sturdivant keeps it in play. Great hustle. Do you foul here or play it out, Dan?
Well, if you're Notre Dame, I think you've got to commit a foul.
4 seconds separating the game clock from the shot clock. Yet the Irish not fouling. Georgia Tech can take this down to 4 seconds left in regulation.
And this is where Alvarado is so dangerous.
Blocked. Here come the Irish. 4 seconds left. Hub over the Cormac Ryan. He's got to get a shot up, and he doesn't. Georgia Tech survives. The Yellow Jackets come from 15 down at halftime to make it 11 straight ACC home wins. Zaxby's player of the game, Dan Bonner, Jose Alvarado.
Well, I certainly think that that's a great choice. Alvarado set the tone for his team. Not only did he score 19 points, but you mentioned he had those 6 steals. He had 6 rebounds. I think his intensity and his defensive play, particularly in the second half, plus his ability to make big shots, obviously a key for Georgia Tech. What a comeback by the Yellow Jackets.
Jose Alvarado played all 40 minutes. Our Zaxby's player of the game. 6 steals, 8 of 11 shooting. And he willed this Georgia Tech team back in this game, down 17 in the first half, 15 at halftime, and the heart and the hustle of Jose Alvarado turned a loss into a win.
It was a victory Georgia Tech really needed, and they got behind, but again, they just kept playing, and particularly in the second half, they were able to force turnovers, convert them into baskets.
What a game and what a win for Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets roar back and win it 82-80. For Dan Bonner, our entire ACC Network crew, I'm Jay Alter saying so long from Atlanta.